to like run my own shop. I'm going to buy bananas and chocolate. I'm going to eat some of it, and I'm going to sell the rest to people.
People have asked me since we got the Fair Trade Nation status what it's meant to me, and I have to say in the 10 months of my ministerial career I've had, this has been the pinnacle. I mean, achieving Fair Trade status, only the second country to do so. And now when I talk about Wales, I can say Scotland is the other country, which is great actually. It's a great achievement. So it means so much, but it's not actually what it means to me, but it's more about what it means to those that we're helping, the smallholder farmers across the world, be it in Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda. And actually when I hear from them, and they tell me the difference not just making on them, not just their families, but actually whole neighbourhoods, villages, towns, it makes me proud that all I've done is bought a chocolate, something I quite enjoy eating, but it's fair trade. The role that's been played by the Scottish Fair Trade Forum, without them actually this couldn't have been done and we couldn't have achieved the status. But what they did, and they'll be the first to admit this, is that it wasn't just work off their own back. Actually, it was pulling in the educational institutes, it's pulling in local authorities, pulling in civic society.
Scotland as a fair trade nation means that all sectors of Scottish society can now come together to support people in developing countries.
Scotland as a fair trade nation means that we are making a stand with small producers in the other part of the world. A stand of solidarity, I think.
Scotland as a fair trade nation to me means a place where people really take things one step further, that they embed the whole idea of fair trade into their everyday lives, that they are thinking beyond just paying lip service, but to the whole issues of absolutely everything that they buy, where it comes from, who's behind it.
It means to me that the people of Scotland are involved in trying to relate in a different way to what's happening in the rest of the world, that they're working with producers in developing countries as equal partners. And it's about a whole set of values, really.
It's about, yes, doing the general support for fair trade, buying fair trade goods, being aware of it, having general awareness across Scotland of what fair trade is. But it's also about pushing into new areas, doing new things, leading the way, so that Scotland is a leader in the world with regard to fair trade.
Well, fair trade is important, I would say, to everybody in this shop. That's the reason people are working here, one of the reasons, and probably the most important reason people are working here. Because it's about being fair and giving justice really to the people who are producing the goods that we have today, and making sure that they do get a fair price for the products.
Well, I'd like there to be a fair trade world. Scotland becoming a fair trade nation is the first step. We need all the European countries to make the next step as well, followed by the whole world.
With the recent scandals that have been happening on the high street, people have been more interested in finding the ethical brands out there and the commodities that they can buy, which they know aren't going to be at other people's expense.
Absolutely raising awareness, that's the first point. And second of all, having respect towards everyone, individuals, clients, customers and providers.
I think fair trade in Scotland is getting quite exciting at the moment. It's rapidly picking up pace, and there's also great growth in terms of finding new products that can be provided that are fair trade, but also looking at how we can have sort of greater involvement of schools, church groups and institutions in sort of embedding the values of fair trade in the work and the practice that they do.
Scotland as a fair trade nation means to me that we have a constituency of people out there who we can mobilise to support farmers in the third world, to give real hope and incentives to farmers in the third world. If they know that there are people there who can support them, will buy their rice, they will do what's necessary.
I think it's a good reminder of how we can be sustainable when we want to be, because fair trade is all about thinking about other people, people who aren't always visible to us, people who aren't on our doorstep, and it's about thinking about the environment as well. It's about everything really. It's about realising that what we do on our own little patch actually has impacts on the wider world. We can have bad impacts or we can choose to have good impacts, and I think that by choosing fair trade we choose to have a good impact.
What we can tell the Scottish people is that we are very happy with what they are doing here. And if we go home, we shall continue working hard so that we don't disappoint them here. As long as they keep on eating our rice, we can assure them of our consistency in supply, and we shall not disappoint them. And most of all, maybe Scottish people are just too good to Malawians. Of Scotland being a fair trade nation on itself, it gives us hope, because it is fair trade nation, fair trade people, fair trade producers and fair trade farmers. Yeah.
Getting that fair trade nation status was important, but you know, we were very keen that the message is this is not the end, this is just the beginning actually, and we need to think what's next for Scotland as a fair trade nation. So there's much more to do. First of all, there's actually more educational institutes to get involved. We've reached a certain target, but we need to get more schools, more colleges, more universities involved, because if you start them from a young age, we're going to, you know, that's how we're going to improve our fair trade nation status, and it's going to continue to grow, expand, get bigger, not just across Scotland, but actually hopefully that'll influence the rest of the UK, it'll influence the rest of Europe. So let's get, one of the key targets is to get into the education sectors and get to kids earlier, because they influence the parents and what they're going to buy just as much as people think it's the other way around.
Raising awareness of fair trade at an event like this is very important indeed. You bring in the children, the children pester the parents, and they make sure that the parents buy fair trade products on the way around the supermarket.